In 1957, a Black woman in Kansas City opened a PR firm with no blueprint, no permission, and no peers, and Fortune 500 brands came to her. Every business you've ever admired, every door that opened a little easier because you were a woman with vision, every investor who didn't laugh you out of the room, that didn't happen by accident. Somebody built that before the internet, before venture capital, before anyone was putting women on Forbes lists or calling them founders. They built in the middle of racism, of sexism, of systems designed specifically to make sure they failed, and they built anyway, with grit and strategy and a refusal to accept the ceiling that the world handed them. This series is called She Built This, and it is my love letter and my challenge to every woman listening who is still playing smaller than she wants to. They gave us the foundation, now it's our job to build the skyscraper. Hey, you're listening to She's That Founder, the podcast for ambitious female leaders who are ready to stop being the bottleneck in their business using AI frameworks for faster delegation and decision-making. I'm Dawn Andrews, and today you'll discover how Inez Kaiser went from home economics teacher in Kansas City to running a national PR firm with household name clients at a time when corporate America didn't hire Black women to advise them, period. You'll also discover the three-part service model she built that made her the obvious choice, not just the brave one, and the specific move she made that took her from solo expert to CEO, and what that means for how you're selling your services right now. So let's set the scene. It's 1957, Kansas City, Missouri. Jim Crow is still the law in much of America. Corporate boardrooms are white and male by design. And public relations as a profession is barely 30 years old, still figuring out what it even is. Into that world walks a Black woman in her late 30s named Inez Kaiser. She's been teaching home economics, writing fashion columns on the side for Black newspapers across the country, learning quietly and systematically how media actually works and who it actually serves. And then she does something that has no roadmap. She opens her own PR firm, Inez Kaiser and Associates. Not just the first Black woman to found a public relations agency in the United States, but the first Black-owned business to open in Kansas City. Full stop. You'd think the story ends there. First, pioneer, trailblazer, let's put her on a mug and call it done. But here's what I need you to understand. And this is the same thing I said about Ruth Handler, and I will keep saying it until it lands. The courage is not the genius. It's so important and so essential to everything that I've been sharing, but what's genius is the system she created. Inez Kaiser didn't hustle her way into household name accounts. She engineered it. And the way she engineered it is exactly what you're missing if you've been relying on your reputation and relationships to carry your service business, and you're still wondering why it's not scaling. So 3 moves. Here they are. Listen up, sister. Move 1. She specialized in the problem the big firms were bad at. Corporations in the 1950s and 60s were suddenly realizing that they needed to reach Black consumers, which was a market they had been ignoring forever. But their agencies were staffed by white men with zero lived experience in those communities, and they were guessing badly. Inez had spent 20-plus years teaching home ec, understanding how families made decisions, how they managed budgets, and what actually mattered to them on a random Tuesday afternoon. She'd been writing for Black newspapers across the country, and she didn't just understand the audience that these brands were fumbling to reach, she was that audience. She had relationships with that audience, and she had credibility with that audience that money couldn't manufacture. So she turned that into her positioning. Not, I'm a PR person, but if you want to speak to Black consumers with actual respect and actual effectiveness, you need someone who knows them, and I'm the one. I mean, real talk, can you say that about your niche right now? Not, I work with founders, but I understand this specific person with this specific problem in a way that the bigger, glossier firms don't, and here's exactly why. If you can't answer that in one sentence, that's your first piece of work. Okay, move number 2. She made trust and honesty a product, not just a personality trait. One of the most famous stories about how she landed 7-Up. During the pitch, an executive asked a question that she didn't know the answer to. Now, most people in that room fighting for that account would have bluffed. And she said, I don't know, but I will find out and get back to you tomorrow. And he hired her on the spot. And from there, she built her entire firm around one operating principle. Be thoughtful and thorough with your clients and build a real relationship with them, not press releases and placements. We know your brand and we know your audience, and we care enough to do the work that others won't. So that's not a tagline, that's a service standard, and there's a difference, and your clients can really feel it. And here's move number 3. She systematized access. And to me, this is the CEO move most service-based founders skip, and that's why they stay stuck trading hours for dollars. Kaiser didn't stop at delivering great work for her clients and great connection. She became the first Black woman to join the Public Relations Society of America, the first to join the Greater Kansas City Chamber of Commerce. She advised the White House on minority women and business during the Nixon and Ford administrations. And she founded organizations that fed opportunity into her industry for decades. I am so inspired by this woman because that's not just networking, that's architecture. She was building the infrastructure that would keep her firm visible, credible, and in demand, so the business wasn't dependent on her personally chasing every account. Here's the line. Inez Kaiser didn't just deliver services. She sold insight, access, and trust. 3 things that are almost impossible to replace and very possible to scale. She held the niche, the point of view, and the standards. She built systems and people to deliver on that vision at a level no solo freelancer could match. And, I always include a little AI angle, so the angle here is real and it's practical. If you're trying to get clear on what your version of this looks like, what audience you understand that others don't, what service you could design around that, what your I know these people positioning actually sounds like, AI is an exceptional thinking partner for that conversation. Not to hand you the answer, but to pressure test it. So you can ask it and share with it, here's my background and my client history. What niche am I sitting on that I might be undervaluing? And then sit with what comes back. The call is yours, but sometimes you need someone to hold the mirror up and to break through your traditional thinking. So if this episode is making you realize that you've been the best kept secret in your own industry, that you've got an insight, an audience, a set of relationships that nobody else has, and you want help turning that into a service system that actually scales, then come join us in the AI for Founders community. It's free, it's focused, it's on LinkedIn, and it's where we do exactly this work, turning who you are into how you grow. The link's in the show notes. All right, let's bring it home. Inez Kaiser built the first Black woman-owned public relations firm in the United States in 1957 in Kansas City, and within a few years, 7-Up, Sears, Sterling Drug, Lever Brothers, Burger King, and Southwestern Bell were on her client list. Brands that had never trusted a Black-owned firm before. And she got there with 3 moves. She specialized in the problems the big firms couldn't solve. She made her integrity a service standard instead of just a vibe. And she built the professional infrastructure that kept her in rooms and relationships that generated business. She didn't wait to be invited in. She built the MF in room. Your action step, our action step, and I want us to do this today, not someday, is to look at our own body of work, our clients, our lived experience, and answer one question honestly. What is the one audience or problem that you understand better than the credentialed, certified, well-funded experts who look better on paper? That's our Inez Kaiser move. That's the thing you stop giving away in free discovery calls and start building a real service model around. Inez built without permission, without precedent, without a single person who'd done it before her to call. And you have all 3, so use them. Inez Kaiser never got the magazine cover. Most people couldn't name her today, but every Black-owned agency that followed her walked through a door she built with her bare hands. That's how legacy works. Not always loud, not always credited, but real and permanent. And you're building something permanent right now, even on the days it doesn't feel like it. This has been a special episode of She Built This. I'm Dawn Andrews. Go build your skyscraper. Hey, if you still are looking for a community and some support, join the free AI for Founders community on LinkedIn, the place where ambitious women like you take everything you just heard and build it. Your niche, your offer, your system. We're in there doing the work, not just talking about it. The link's in the show notes. I'll see you inside and catch our next episode on Tuesday.